Let's be honest, we all know the feeling, right? That magnetic pull of our devices. You just pick up your phone to check one tiny thing, and poof, 20 minutes have completely vanished. Ever stop and wonder why it's so incredibly hard to just look away? Well, today we're going to unpack the science behind our modern addiction to distraction. I mean, that's the real question, isn't it? It's that moment you snap out of it and realize you've been scrolling endlessly when all you wanted to do was check the weather. It's so easy to blame ourselves, to think, I have no willpower. But what if it's not about willpower at all? What if something much, much deeper is going on? We're calling this the distraction addiction because, let's face it, that's what it feels like. So we're going to pull back the curtain and take a hard look at the invisible forces that are constantly fighting for our attention, smashing our focus into a million little pieces, and keeping us totally hooked. Okay, so here's the most important thing to get right off the bat. If you struggle with this, it is not a personal failure. It's not because you're weak. It's actually a perfectly engineered collision between two incredibly powerful forces: the ancient wiring of our brain chemistry and the very modern, very intentional design of our technology. So let's start with piece number one of this puzzle, our own brains. To really get what's happening inside our heads, we need to meet the prime suspect in our little story. A chemical you have definitely heard of, but I bet its real job is going to surprise you. Say hello to dopamine. Now, for years, we all called it the pleasure chemical, but that's a huge misconception. It's not really about pleasure at all. It's the chemical of anticipation. It's the engine that literally drives us to seek, to explore, to look for things. Now, for our ancestors, that was awesome for finding food or a new water source. But in our digital world, it drives some very different behaviors. And this right here is the absolute heart of the issue. Our modern internet, and especially our smartphones, are basically giant dopamine-triggering machines. They are perfectly designed to hit that seeking button in our brain over and over and over again. Every potential notification, every new post that's just a flick of the thumb away, it's a new target for our dopamine-driven brain to go chase. And you see it everywhere. That endless scroll on social media, your brain is just hunting for the next interesting thing. That buzz in your pocket, your brain lights up, anticipating what it could be. You know, even just switching from your email to a news site gives you this tiny little hit of novelty. Each one of these little actions keeps that anticipation loop spinning and spinning. All right, so that's our brain chemistry, but that's only half the story. Now we've got to look at the other side of the equation, the technology itself, because it is no accident that our devices trigger our dopamine system so effectively. They are intentionally designed to do just that, using principles perfected by one of the most addictive industries on the entire planet. And I know this sounds crazy, but it's true. The core design principle behind the apps that suck up all our time is the exact same one that powers a casino slot machine. The concept has a name. It's called a variable reward system. Just think about the difference for a second. A predictable reward, like getting your paycheck every other Friday, it's nice, but you don't find yourself compulsively checking your bank account every 2 minutes for it. But an unpredictable reward, that's what gets our brains hooked. When you pull down to refresh your social media feed, you have no idea what you're going to get. It could be a boring ad, a funny video, a message from an old friend. That uncertainty is the magic ingredient that makes you want to pull that lever again and again and again. So these platforms are basically tapping into our deepest, most human needs. They're feeding our brains intense hunger for novelty. They're giving us these little pellets of social validation with likes and comments. And of course, they weaponize our fear of missing out, that nagging feeling that if we disconnect for even a second, we're going to be left behind. Okay, so we've got our ancient brain wiring being played like a fiddle by modern deliberate design. But what's the big deal? What's the actual cost of all this? Well, this constant hunt for something new isn't free. It comes at a really steep price to our ability to think, to focus, and even to be creative. To get why, we need to look at something called cognitive load theory. So I want you to think of your working memory, the part of your brain that's juggling information right now, as a small desk. You can only put so many things on it before it gets super cluttered and, stuff starts falling off. And constant digital input just completely overwhelms that desk. And that is exactly what our digital lives do all day long. Every notification, every single time we switch from a work document to check an email and then pop over to social media, we are forcing our brain to drop what it's doing and pick something else up. This constant switching just overloads our cognitive capacity. It leads to that brain fog feeling and makes it almost impossible to remember what we were even doing in the first place. But there's another, more subtle casualty in all of this noise, something called the default mode network. This is the part of your brain that kicks in when you're not focused on anything in particular. You know, when you're daydreaming in the shower or your mind is wandering on a long walk. This offline mode is literally where our best ideas come from, where we make long-term plans, and where we reflect on who we are. And here's the really scary part. When we fill every single empty moment of our day by pulling out our phones, in line at the store, waiting for a friend, we are effectively silencing this crucial brain network. We are robbing ourselves of the exact mental space we need for creativity, for self-reflection, for deep thought. So over time, this whole cycle of seeking digital rewards, it stops being a conscious choice. It just becomes automatic. It gets hardwired into our brains as this incredibly powerful habit that just runs on autopilot. And it works because of this simple but powerful loop. First, there's a trigger. It's usually an uncomfortable feeling, right? Boredom, loneliness, anxiety. The action is automatic. You reach for your phone. And the reward is that quick little hit of novelty, a temporary escape from that bad feeling. And every single time we complete this loop, the pathway in our brain gets stronger and stronger, until reaching for our phone becomes as unconscious as taking a breath. So the next time you feel that pull, just remember what's actually happening under the hood. It's not a failure of your willpower. It's your brain's ancient wiring, meaning powerful modern design. And just understanding that, that's the first step to taking back control. It really all comes down to this one final question. Your attention is your most valuable currency. Who are you letting spend it? Let